This is our first battle report between Vampire Counts and Dwarfs. It's a 2,500 point game using the Dawn attack scenario out of the main rulebook. The Vampire Counts are using the Vampire Count rules, not Legion of the Undead, as this was filmed just before they came out. And the Dwarves are also using the current Dwarf book. As you can see here, this is a train we've rolled up, so we've actually used the train generation table. So starting from the left, we've got that mysterious forest. Just across running through the centre of the board, we have a mysterious river that turned out to be River of Light. Up in the sort of top centre, we have the wall and the charnel pit, and then a building down in the bottom of the board. Okay, let's start to look at our Dwarf army. So Dwarf army has 25 hammers with full command and the double rune of slowness. They've got the almost unkillable Dwarf Lord with shield, stone, 2 runes of iron, as you can all see there. And then they've got a Rune Lord with double rune of spell breaking, and that annoying, I'm going to take your magic dice away. Okay, next up we've got 25 Longbeards with full command, great weapons, and the Rune of Stubborn, making them almost impossible to shift, and then 20 Thunderers with a standard and nothing. Okay, hiding in that unit of Longbeards, as you just saw, is 2 Runesmiths, both a double rune of spell breaking, one with the Rune of Furnace, and then a Thane, that's BSB, Master of Valaya, and a pistol. And rounding out our Dwarf army is a Gyrocopter with Vanguard and Steam Gun, making it a pesky little thing that can put out a fair amount of damage to a horde unit. Our Vampire Counts army is led by a Vampire Lord with heavy armor shield, essentially just your standard Blender Lord. He's hiding in a unit of 10 Blood Knights that has full command, the banner of a 4-up ward against shooting, and the golden sigil sword, and then has a white king that's got a 4-up ward, heavy armor joined to it. Next up, we've got a unit of 50 skeleton warriors with full command and the screaming banner. In that unit is a master necromancer that's level 4 with the night shroud, and then a level 2 vampire with aura strikes first. Next up, we got another unit of 50 skeletons, this time with the war banner instead of the screaming banner, and you can notice that my vampires all look very much similar. This is how I personally think is the best way to run them. That's why I run them all this way. And lastly, we have a naked corpse cart, because essentially getting aura strikes first on 50 skeleton warriors, all those blood knights, is just too good to not take. Like, for 90 points, it's ridiculously good. Like, why is it so cheap? So as I said earlier, we ran the Dawn attack scenario where you have to roll up for each individual unit to see where in the map it's deployed. My opponent rolled up his Longbeards and Thunderers first. Now the Thunderers got the centre, the Longbeards got where he wanted, so he placed him in the centre. He then got unlucky where both his Hammerers, which is his main big block at what he expects to do damage in his unit, and his War Machines all got put on that right flank, essentially away from the rest of his army. Now with his General and Rune Lord and his essential Hammer unit over there, he wasn't overly happy to start with in this game. But it may not be that bad, it may be, we'll see later. Now for my opponent, I essentially got the exact opponent I wanted. I got my 2 skeleton blocks in the middle, and the corpse cart behind them, and then the blood knights off on that right flank. Now my plan was just to march everything forward, charge the blood knights as soon as I could, and just watch them start ripping through dwarven units. Hopefully doing as much damage as I can by raising back the casualties I took. The only problem with that plan is, as you can see, the unit of skeletons with the war banner ended up in that River of Light. Now that River of Light at the very start of the game turned out to be River of Light cast Burning Gaze on my skeleton warriors and killed 4 of them. So 4 of them have died before the game has even started. It's not off to a good start. So, Dwarf turn 1. My opponent rolls up to see what his grudge is today. Apparently, today he gets full hatred. The Gyrocopter will vanguard up. Hammers will march forward. The Gyro moves across around to the back. And the Longbeards will barricade up to that wall, as you can see. Next up, the Gyrocopter, as it's moved around down to the bottom here, shoots the skeleton unit and the corpse cart. 3 skeletons die. The corpse cart is absolutely fine. Cannon shoots at the skeletons, trying to snipe out the vampire. Instead, it only kills 4 of the skeleton warriors, and the Thunderers kill off 2 skeletons themselves as well. Okay, my first turn, I just move everyone up. The River of Light casters return his Time Warp on the Blood Knight. That's lucky that didn't kill anything. Everything else just moves up. The Corpse Card turns around to try and fight the Gyrocultor, but that's just going to run out of my way. Magic wise, I didn't do much. I cast Nagash's Gaze and Nagash, I should say, on the Longbeards and killed 4 of them. And that's about all that happened in the magic phase. Start of Dwarfs turn 2, the Gyrocultor moves around more, and the Hammers move up to barricade that wall that's in front of them there. Shooting wise, the cannon tries to shoot and kill the vampire again. This time only manages to kill a skeleton warrior. Organ gun starts opening up on the skeletons and kills 6 of them. And the Gyrocultor flames and kills another 10 skeleton warriors. That thing is horrifying. So here's a photo where the Gyrocultor moved to, and then here is one of it flaming the skeletons that it killed. And then here's a shot of the cannon shooting at those Black Knights, which it managed to kill 1 of. That's a lot of points. That's 50 points gone already. They have 50 points of model Black Knights. Oh no. Alright, so my second turn, I just keep moving up. Black Knights charge out of the river into the Longbeards. Actually make that one in. Some of the skeletons, sorry, I need to move up. Everything actually tried to charge. The skeletons tried to charge the Longbeards and failed, and then the other unit skeletons tried to charge the Hammers. They also failed because of that stupid rune of slowness. God, that thing makes channeling hard. So this is a better look at where the Black Knights ended up. So Magic rolled up 6 dice. All of my winners managed to channel. Level 4 Necromancer managed to gaze the Hammers this time, killed 4 of them off. Manages to bubble the Van Hells, gets that off, and then my level 2 Lord cast Hellish Vigor. He miscasts on that, kills 4 Black Knights. And then my level 4 was stopped trying to cast Evocation. Oh, luckily though, my Black Knights are all really buffed. They're going to hit very hard because they're reals to hit, reals to wounds of 4 attacks each, weapon skill 5. They should absolutely mint those. And this is what that combat looks like at the end. As you can see, my Black Knights were destroyed. So the fence kills 1 of them as they charge over and wounds my Lord. Vampire Lord only manages to kill 4 Longbeards in total, even with Red Fury. The Black Knights managed to kill 6. The White King does a couple wounds, and then one of their nightmares, like their mounts, kill another one. The unit, though, of Longbeards manages to kill 7 Black Knights. Yeah, Vane also kills 1, so that was it. Like, that's about all I had left. Actually, sorry, that was 8. That was all the Black Knights had left. The Black Knights literally get destroyed, and then those stupid Dwarfs, because of that stubborn rune, managed to hold. Oh god, that was 625 points worth of unit. Absolutely butch. So as you can see at the start of the Dwarf turn 3, Hammers charge my remaining White King and Vampire Lord. Gyrocultor moves around, has a light of battle cast on it from that River of Light. It seems to be helping my opponent more than it helps me. And yeah, that was about all the movement that was done. So, Dwarf shooting phase, he manages to move up. Sorry, not move up. Shoots my Corpse Card, but 2 moves on that. Oh, sorry. Organ gun shoots the skeletons and manages to only kill 1 out of 14 shots. That was horribly unlucky. And the cannon shoots the Corpse Card as well and manages to not kill it, thank god. And the Gyrocultor burns 6 skeletons to death, as you can see. Moving to combat, his Dwarf Lord challenges out my White King. White King manages to do a wound to the Dwarf Lord. The Lord does no wounds back to my White King. The Vampire Lord manages to kill a couple more of the Longbeards. The Fang manages to do a wound to the VC Lord. The Longbeards manage to punch out the Vampire Lord. Even though he is toughness 5 with the 4 up ward save, they still manages to destroy him, and the White King crumbles out, and the hammers will reform to face the rest of my line. My turn 3, I'll try and charge both the skeletons into the hammers. Hopefully I can win through just sheer numbers. Only one unit makes it, so the unit you can see now fails. The other unit makes it in. And I just try and bring the corpse cut back around the back to try and keep it out of the way of those thunder shooting. So this is the unit you can see here that's moved into the combat, and the corpse cut behind. Magic phase, I don't really get anything off. The doors are just a little bit too hard to try and break through that unstoppable dispels they have. Combat wise, the dwarf challenges out my unit champ, kills him. Vampire kills a couple. In the end, I end up losing 10 skeletons and have to reform. So dwarf turn 4, they Longbeards charge into my unit of skeletons that are in combat with the hammers, and the Gyrocopter moves around. This is a quick shot of where the Gyrocopter moved to, ready to start flaming more skeletons. That thing has gotten that many kills so far. It's ridiculous. How do you fight essentially a flying chariot with that steam gun? Yeah. Let me know. Like, seriously, I need to learn how to fight that with this army. Here's another shot of that Gyrocopter's horrifying steam guns template. Just murdering skeletons everywhere. I think that time kills another 3 skeletons only, but still, that unit started off at 50 strong and it's just been flamed to death essentially, and now it's down to that. Now that combat in the center, the Dwarf Lord challenges out my Vampire Count, who accepts, manages not to deal any wounds, takes wounds but manages to I think they gained it back somehow, but I'm not entirely sure. The Necromancer managed to kill a Longbeard. Longbeards then rip him limb from limb. Skeletons do a wound. The hammers do 5 wounds. The skeletons crumble out, and the hammers reform to face their next target they're going to crush. Start of my turn 4, I charge the skeletons into the hammers. Corpse cut into the hammers. Hopefully those impact hits will do something. I managed to get 10 knights versus my opponent's 7, and not a single spell gets cast. That static +4 to dispel that he can't lose, plus all the dispel scrolls, just make it absolutely impossible to get spells off. It's actually the hardest magic phase to work in there out of anyone. No high elf, no dark elf, no wood elf, no one gets a easier way to stop magic dice than a dwarf player nowadays, which I guess is to make up for the lack of a magic. I think this combat ends up being my best all day. I do a few wounds, the dwarves do a few wounds, end up drawing combat. I mean, I would have liked to win, but even if you had win, those dwarves are leadership 10, rerollable, stubborn. Like, you're not gonna shift them. Just a dwarf army will not shift. You'll have to break it just about, unless you can take away their rerolls or get lucky. Maybe force check to multiple dice. Maybe that's the way to do it. Dwarf's turn 5. He charges everything into my last bunch of skeletons and the flank of the corpse guard, and that goes about as well as you expect it to go. I think I'm absolutely crushed and wiped out to a lot. As you can see, that's what's left of my unit after that combat. So, man of the match. Man of the match for the Dwarfs goes to the Hammers. They managed to finish off those Blood Knights, killed an entire unit of skeletons, and polished off that last unit of skeletons as well. They're just that solid. My opponent's comments was his deployments were a little scary, as he wasn't sure if the Longbeards would be able to hold that line until the hammers got there. The Gyrocopter he gives an honourable mention to, being able to whittle down that many skeletons. As you can see, the thought about the Longbeards not holding wasn't that much of a worry, as those things managed to take the Blood Knights themselves. So yeah, this is our first battle report. I hope you guys all enjoy it. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of the lists, and any further matchups you'd like to see. I'm running Empire and Vampire Counts, but I should be able to find an opponent for just about every race out there in Warhammer Fantasy. So let us know what you want to fight, and who you want me to fight it with. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.